This is my white privilege DEI experience. In 1975, at the age of 18, I went to the unemployment office. There was a local foundry, a factory. They called it a foundry. They were hiring. They had contracts, government contracts, to build tank turrets. I went in and applied, got an interview set up along with about 7 or 8 other guys. My turn come. I went into the office and the man said, "Well, Mr. Poling, I'm going to tell you just like I've been telling everybody else. This is government contracts, and I'm required by law to hire so many minorities, blacks, and white women," that's how he put it, "before I can consider hiring any white males." And I said to him, "Well, everybody else out there in the waiting room are all white males." And this was his exact words. And I'll never forget this. He says, "I know. It's been like that for the last 2 weeks." He said, "I have to wait until they get up off of there, okay, and come in and apply." And I was like 18 years old. So this DEI has been going on for decades that I know of. It's nothing new. The only thing is, it just went nuclear here in the last several years. It just went shot through the roof because of all the backing by the billionaires and the corporations and the stores and everything that you and I support throughout the years. Now, I have no problem with anybody getting a job, no matter what the race is. You know, if they're qualified, fine. So anyway, let's jump ahead to 1982. I did have a job. I worked in the automotive field because I had technical experience. I went to college and got technical when I was 18. I got technical certificates from a technical school for auto repair. But in 1982, I find myself unemployed. So back to the unemployment office. And there was an opportunity. And it said, learn a trade and get paid. Government sponsored with your tax dollars. 1982. So I applied for it. Turns out it was like a 16-week course to go to learn major appliance repair. And they paid you minimum wage, just like a job, 40 hours a week, had to go 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, got paid like a job, signed up. I got rejected. The reason I got rejected was because I had already had a trade school backing. And this was a government contracts, again, set up to help people that didn't have any experience. So I said, fine, that's okay with me, fine. About a week later, I get a phone call on my answering machine, and just so people that don't know what an answering machine is, that was a little device which was like state-of-the-art back then, hooked up to your phone where people could leave you a message. Well, it turns out the unemployment office had called me, said they had an opportunity. So I go back, and he said, "Oh, Mr. Poling, you still interested in the major appliance course through the college?" I said, "Sure." The guy says, "Well," I said, "but they rejected me." He says, "Well, we couldn't get 14 people. 14 people. DEI, okay? People that, didn't have a trade. They were given the opportunity. They couldn't get 14 people for this course." So I signed up. I took the course, went through the whole 16 weeks, got this nice diploma, learned how to repair major appliance, learned all about electrical and house wiring and everything. I learned a lot. Got paid to do it by the government because other people wouldn't take it. They wouldn't take it. I took it. That's my DEI experience. That's my white privilege. So in 1975, I didn't have no white privilege. In 1982, I didn't have no white privilege. The only reason I was able to be accepted in that school for this government program was because nobody, well, not nobody, but they couldn't get enough people. And get this, at the end of the 16 weeks, there was only 4 of us that graduated. 4. All white men. Now, I'm not trying to put anybody down here. Okay? That's not what this is about. But when I started hearing this stuff about white privilege and then this DEI, and I told my daughter, and I told her these stories, and I told her these before they started all this crap, I told her, I said, this is ridiculous. I said, this has been going on for a long time. I said, I was a victim of it. I was pushed aside and had to go to the back of the line for people that didn't even want to apply for these positions. And you think that when I hear something about DEI and this is unfair and that's unfair and this and that and everything, that does not upset me? Think again. Think again. It should be about merit. It always should have been about merit. It never should be about race. Never. I just find it, I don't know. Sometimes I'm speechless trying to just remember about all this stuff. It's like, these people don't have a clue. These people pushing this DEI and all this crap, they don't have a clue what's going on. This has been going on for at least since 1975 that I've known about. They've been given opportunities. People's been given opportunities throughout the years. It was government programs, okay? They weren't taking advantage of them. So, so to push this like they're pushing it is not only wrong, it should be considered criminal. Because when you got somebody that's willing to take the job and they got to stand in line behind somebody that hasn't even applied, and you got a government that backs that up, that's a serious problem. Well, like I said, I'm here now, and I'm not going anywhere. I will be back, because trust me, there's more, and I will take a lie detector test, okay? And I can show you the diploma I got from the West Virginia Northern Community College, the major appliance repair diploma I got for that. Thanks to the government taxpayers and the people that setup was supposed to be for that never applied. Thank you. I took an opportunity not away from somebody. I took an opportunity because nobody was applying for it. Well, they didn't have enough people applying. 14 people. 14 people was all they needed. And I guess I must have been the 14th one because the program proceeded with me. And I think it lasted maybe 1 year. 1 year after that, then it was gone. You know why? It was government funded. So when these people started whining and crying about the government this and the government that, they were doing all kinds of stuff back then to support this DEI. It just wasn't pushed like it is now. And it's ridiculous. Hire people because of who they are and what they can do, not because of their color of their skin. See you again.